Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Port St. Lucie's Sunday service. Welcome to everybody here. Welcome to everybody at home. And I do have to give a shout out to someone who's almost always here with us and right now can't be. So Mr. Paul Shepard, we're all praying for you. Oh, we need to switch. Oh, no, Mr. Hayes, graphics department. Wrong slideshow.
Oh, wrong slideshow. Let me get.
There will be a memo. Yeah, and not to mention a dock and pay. So when the graphics department gets their act together, then we're going to stand and sing the opening song, One Light. So as we settle in, I invite you to sit back in your chair, relax, take a deep breath in, hold it, and as you exhale, release cares, worries, stresses, as we join our hearts and minds together in our prayer for inner peace. Creator of all that is, I open my heart and mind this morning to the presence of God that is within me and in everyone and everything. That one power and one presence. I let God's peace fill my being. In this presence, I am peaceful, poised, confident, and strong. I relax in God's loving care and release all my cares, knowing that God is upholding me and sustaining me in all that I do. God's presence calms me, quiets the storms around me, and leads me to a place of perfect peace. As I center myself in that peaceful presence this morning, I let go of every concern and relax in the safety of God's love and in the love of those around me. I find Unity of Port St. Lucie a sanctuary of love and peace, and I am open and receptive to receive all it has to soothe my mind and soul this day. And so it is. Amen. Would you say with me our mission statement? To develop our spiritual connection with God through prayer, education, and service. And our vision, Unity of Port St. Lucie is an expanding community for personal healing and spiritual growth. Please join us in our congregational song, Confident Living.
Glorious light,
Miss Shanetta is going to read the daily word today.
Good morning. The word for today is loving. I am a loving, caring presence. Just as the sun shines on everyone and everything, I am a loving presence to everyone I meet. My kind words, welcome smile, and compassionate actions all spring from the love that is part of my divine identity. Being a loving presence draws me closer to God and to all people. I want to share the love I have known throughout the seasons of my life, at heights of triumphs and joy, and the depths of loss and suffering. God is love, and so am I. No matter who I meet or what they're going through, I am loving. I bring support, kindness, solace, and comfort and share them lavishly, without thought of reciprocity. I am the hands and heart of God in the world. And Romans 13:8 it says, "Owe no one anything except to love one another, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law." Let us repeat together the affirmation for today. I am a loving, caring presence. Let us prepare now for our meditation by singing Surely the Presence.
It is true, friends. The presence of the Lord is in this place and every place. We know that. We take this time, though, on Sunday mornings to become acutely aware of it and then to experience it together. And we do that by first relaxing deeply right where we're at. If we're here sitting in a chair, we allow these chairs to do their jobs, supporting us. Let go of the need to hold on to anything, any part of our body. If we're at home sitting on a sofa, in a hospital bed, on a chair, we relax. We let go. Release tension. Lay it aside. Imagine it, actually. Use your imagination. Imagine stress and tension as a black piece of coal. Set it outside your body. Lay it somewhere else. Let it go. And relax. Breathe evenly. Take long breaths. And breathe into your heart space, friends, and center yourself there. Place all of your thoughts on that space, your heart space. There is a place deep, deep inside of each and every one of us in our heart space that is an unending reservoir of love. It is the seat of our soul. We live, we move, we have our very being drawing from that unending reservoir of love, the love that is unconditional, the love that loves without reservation. Center yourself in it, friends. It's like drinking holy water, crystal clear, delicious. Center yourself in it. Be still, be quiet, as calm as you can be. Be relaxed, and center yourself in this reservoir of love, divine love, the love that is God. Do that now together in the silence. And then very slowly, very gently, begin to return your attention to the outer. Slowly and gently, bringing this reconnection and renewal with you when you open your eyes now, as you're ready to move into your day with your light shining ever so brightly. Join together and sing about the bond of love that joins us all. Good morning, everyone. So good to see you, and I see some new faces. I hope I get a chance to say hello and meet you one-on-one before you leave today. I look forward to that. Whatever it is that brought you here, we're glad to see you. Welcome to our beautiful little community. Before I start my talk, Sherry mentioned Paul, but what she didn't tell you, and I think it's important for you to know, is that he's doing extraordinarily well. He is so touched by all the notes and the messages, text messages, etc., that he's received. You know, there are lots of gifts in this experience for Mr. Paul. It was a miracle that he was able to get in touch with his brother and his sister at the time that he did, and that they were able to make arrangements to get him up there to the hospital in a very timely fashion, because, you know, when you have a stroke, that's important. Not only that, when he got there, he was a perfect candidate to receive some beautiful new medication that stops it in its tracks. Within 15 minutes, what was a paralyzed side of his body was completely restored. You know, and I don't know that we hear good news like that often enough, and I think it's worth repeating. I would hate to glance over that because it's a beautiful story. So he's feeling particularly strong and grateful and committed to finding a way to relax in his life. So Lana, I suggested that he get with you and you teach him some yoga. Yeah? So, I'm pretty sure he's sitting up in his hospital bed watching. So good morning, Paul. So today I want to continue my series on world religions. I'm loving this experience, as I shared with my friends up front here earlier. Absolutely loving it, and the feedback I'm getting from all of you has been nothing but positive, so thank you for that. So we continue today by taking a look first at another religious tradition that comes out of India. If you remember the last time I spoke to you, I talked about Hinduism, which is 80% of Indians practice Hinduism. But there are two other really large religious groups in India, and they bear mentioning, I think, because they're so interesting. They're so interesting. And during your lifetime, I know that you've come across at least one of them. So let me tell you a little bit about the first one I want to talk about. It's called Jainism. Jainism. You see the word on the screen? People who practice it are called Jains. It's that simple. People who practice it are called Jains. There are about 5 million practitioners of Jainism in India alone. There are some in other parts of the world, but primarily Jainism is practiced in India. Interestingly, in Jainism, there is no supreme deity. You know, that's the first spiritual tradition since I started this series about which that is true. There is no supreme deity, a lot of deities like in Hinduism. What is different, Jains worship enlightened beings. Jains worship enlightened beings. Currently, there are 24 of them in the tradition of Jainism. Isn't that really cool? Very different and interesting. There are two groups of Jains. Seems like whatever spiritual tradition we've landed on so far is always splintered, and there are multiple groups within the one large group. I guess that's life. That's true no matter what we're talking about. Within Jains, the two groups, and I'm not going to try to pronounce their names because I won't do it correctly and I don't want to dishonor them, but one of them are characterized by always wearing white. You see this woman is wearing white. Always wearing white, no matter what. That's all they do. They wear white, period. And the other actually run around naked. Yeah, really, literally run around naked. I don't know if I don't know that they run around. I'm making light of it. They don't wear clothing. And I heard something over here, John. I wasn't sure what it was, but I heard a mumble of some kind. Oh, it gets hot in India, right? Exactly. There is a tremendous emphasis in Jainism on nonviolence, which I love. I love to hear that about any religious tradition. Huge emphasis on nonviolence and the sacredness of life. Isn't that lovely? To the point where, first of all, they are strict vegetarians. You can't practice Jainism without practicing vegetarianism. There is no separation. They go so far as to avoid eating root vegetables because of the microorganisms that live underground that would be attached to those roots that would die the moment you take them out of the ground. They are so attached to nonviolence that is an example of the way they practice nonviolence, which I thought was fascinating. They use a broom or a whisk to clean off the path in front of them when they walk so they don't accidentally step on an insect. Is that cool or what? I think it would slow me down a little. And that's not a bad thing, right? We could all use some slowing down, probably. And as you see in this picture, I chose this particular photograph not only because she's a beautiful young woman, but it demonstrates the fact that they wear masks to avoid accidentally breathing in a microorganism and killing it. Is that not cool? I have a tremendous respect for such practices, for such discipline. Discipline is not a strong suit for me, friends. So when I see it practiced as an entire group, with an entire group, I'm impressed. I think it's a beautiful thing. Jains believe very strongly that our experience in life is completely clouded by karma. Karma is the central core belief that they have, that it clouds, it infiltrates our entire experience of life, is all wrapped up in what we are getting paid back for or what we're making amends for. They also believe that our purpose in life is to come back as often as necessary to keep cleaning stuff up, to pay our debts for things we've done in a past life, keep coming back as often as necessary in order to achieve ultimately enlightenment. And those enlightened 24 beings are all there are right now. So we have some work to do, I guess. There are endless levels of existence, according to the Jains. Endless levels of existence. And I know that resonates with some of you. And again, their purpose is to move through those levels until ultimately they achieve enlightenment. And they do that by practicing what they call 3 jewels. And I love this so much. 3 jewels. Faith and insight is jewel number 1. Well, think about it. Faith and insight, I get that, right? Not unlike our own practice, faith and insight. Knowledge of the universe, and the fact that there are all these levels and there's karma and you want to achieve enlightenment. I think that's what that means. Knowledge of the way the universe works from their point of view. And then finally, right conduct. Sounds like the golden rule to me, right? See, there's so many similarities between what we practice and all of these world religions practice. It's very, very cool to look for our similarities, the things we share. Jainism, fascinating, fascinating. The next one I want to talk about is practiced by about 20 million people in India, so much, much, much larger group, and a group that you've probably heard of, Sikhs. Yes? Yes. The spiritual tradition is called Sikhism. That is the correct way to say it. And those who practice Sikhism are called Sikhs, Sikhs. In the book that I am using as my primary resource, the one written by the Unity Minister, Religions of the World, and by the way, I have 2 more copies. I ordered one for Bob Bounds, and I thought, well, I'll order 3 just in case. So if anybody else wants a copy of the book, see me today. I brought them with me. I have 2 more copies. So in the book, Reverend Paul talks about the fact that as far as he's concerned, Sikhism is poetic mysticism. I love that term. And I know that part of the reason is there are 3 extraordinarily famous poets that whose work is considered scripture by Sikhs. So poetic mysticism. The word Sikh itself means disciple, which is interesting, isn't it? The word disciple means open to learn. I want you to think about Christianity for a moment. The word disciple means open to learn, doesn't it? Yeah. There is a great emphasis in Sikhism on listening to the message of the divine through song, dance, and chant. Song, dance, and chant. I love that as well. Like unity in Judaism and Islam, there's one true God in Sikhism. One true God. There are no priests. There's a strong belief in Sikhism that every single one of us has equal access to God. We don't need an intermediary. So there are no priests within Sikhism. They accept karma as part of their belief system, but they don't focus their entire theology on it like the Jains do. Karma, yes, but it's not everything. The most devout of all the Sikhs are called pure ones, who are dedicated to being proud of their tradition, to showing it to the world. Showing it to the world. So they wear the 5 Ks on their bodies. First one, kesh, unkept hair kept in place by a turban, which you can see in this photograph. So when you see someone you suspect is of Indian descent in an airport or in a shopping center, and they have a turban on their head, odds are that they're Sikhs. If they're friendly and approachable, you might ask them. Tell them that you've been learning something a little about their tradition, and are they by chance Sikhs? The second one is, you can't see it with the turban on, but it's called kanga, and it's a comb in the hair. A comb in the hair. Third one, kirpan, is a short sword that they wear. The next one is kara, which is a steel bracelet. And finally, kachira, which are baggy shorts. More than I needed to know, but nonetheless, baggy shorts. Interesting, I didn't know this, and I assume that you didn't either. I know my friends up front here didn't know it. We spoke about it earlier. Every man who's a Sikh has the same last name, surname, Singh, S-I-N-G-H. If you meet someone from India and who's a male and they have the last name Singh, they are a Sikh. Yeah, isn't that cool? All the women who are Sikhs have the same surname, and that is Kaur, K-A-U-R. Interesting, isn't it? And again, it's a demonstration of the pride they have in being Sikhs. They want you to know. They want the world to know, which I think is a beautiful thing, to be that proud of your belief system that you wear signs of it to show people what you are and who you are. Their core practices are very, very, very wonderful. First of all, repeating the name of God over and over and over again in a chant is one of their core practices. It is a way to hear God. Singing chants and songs is a big, big part of Sikhism. sing it to their children, their grandchildren. They sing it to each other. You know, there are stories, I've been reading stories, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, of children who call grandma and grandpa on the phone and just get them on the phone and sing one of their songs to them. Just sing the song. You know, it's a way of showing love and respect. And then finally, they consider it a duty to have integrity and honesty. And finally, a duty to help other people. A duty to help other people. I love that. All Sikhs within their tradition work every day to overcome what they call the 5 thieves. Interesting term. Look at this. 5 thieves. Lust, greed, anger, attachment, and pride. 5 thieves. And they are thieves, are they not? Because they rob us of our spiritual nature. They rob us of our joy, right? They're joy busters. Every one of them. Thieves. I love that idea. And like unity, Sikhism is a very practical religion. All Sikh teachers work hard to give followers tools that they can use in their everyday life. They apply it in their everyday life, something that Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, co-founders of Unity, felt very, very strongly about. They said it in all of their earliest writings. They wanted Unity to be a spiritual tradition that people would use in their everyday life, and we do. We focus our lives on positivity, bottom line, you know. My own understanding of Sikhism has been deepening for weeks and weeks, long before I did my research for this talk, because I've been reading this book. It's called See No Stranger, written by a young Sikh woman named Valerie Kaur, K-A-U-R, there it is, right? You know, friends, it is a privilege to be walking the planet at the same time as this young woman. I am blown away by her deep, deep spiritual maturity, by her insights. Young, beautiful Sikh woman. I cannot say enough. I came to know her from Renee. Those of you who are here know Renee, know exactly who I mean. One of our members, not with us today, who spends a great deal of his time finding resources on the internet that inspire all of us, that uplift us. And he loves sharing it. I'm on his share list. And so right after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, this young woman wrote a letter and published it on her website, in her blog, which has gone viral almost within 3 days. Gone viral. All around the world, people are reading her letter. And when I read it, because Renee shared it with me, I became breathless. I was so moved by her words. She's brilliant, and she's a beautiful writer, and she's a deeply, deeply felt spiritual thinker. Her TED Talk has drawn over 3 million views so far, and it's not very old. If you want to get a sense of this young woman, go to TED Talks and watch her TED Talk, please. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. So I bought the book because I stalked her online after Renee shared her with me and learned a lot. And I said, well, this is a book I need to have, so I bought it. I've had it for a couple months. You see this purple bookmark, that's as far as I've gotten, because it's a difficult read for me. Sometimes when I'm reading this book, I feel like she's scolding me, and I don't like it. So I lay it down, and I glare at it. Literally, it's over here in the corner of my desk, right there. I glare at it, and I have a hissy fit inside. And I realize, of course, the only reason I can be reacting that way is because something that's said there is something I need to work on. I might not want to right now. So I let it lay for a couple of days, and then I can't stand it any longer. So I pick it back up, and I read another page or two or three. And then she does it again. Master teacher, like none other that I've known for a very, very long time. And look where she came from. Who would have guessed? A young Sikh woman from India. Young, beautiful Sikh woman. You know what? I'm open to everything. Open to everything. I'm not going to recommend the book because it's a difficult read, but I'm having a great deal of fun with it, truly. My reading sometimes comes to a screeching halt, not because she said something that triggered me, but she said something so beautiful, so true, and so profound that I'm led to get teared up, and I just have to close it and sit and experience it for a little bit before I move on. I want to share her voice with you. Do you mind? Just a little bit of her. I want you to experience her. If you never look her up and you don't check her out on your own, that's fine. But by gosh, as long as you're a captive audience, you're going to hear a little bit of her. This is a story that tells us a little bit more about Sikhism. She was mentored by her grandfather, who she calls Papaji, who passed away not too long ago. Very difficult for her. And he was a Sikh mystic. I'll just put it that way. And one of her favorite things growing up as a child was to sit at his knees or on his lap or at his side and listen to his stories. She says, Papaji was wondrous to me, as infinite and inexhaustible as the night sky. He had worlds of stories in him, ancient stories he would bequeath to me in slivers, stories of gurus and saints, warriors and poets, soldiers and farmers. And all these stories formed a long, shimmering history that spanned centuries from India to America and ended with me. My favorite was our origin story, the story of Guru Nanak, the first teacher of the Sikh faith. 5 centuries ago, the story goes, halfway around the world, in a village in Punjab on the Indian subcontinent, there lived a young man named Nanak. He was deeply troubled by all the violence around him. Hindus and Muslims were in turmoil. One day, he disappeared on the bank of a river for 3 days. People thought he was dead, drowned. But Nanak emerged on the 3rd day with a vision of oneness, the oneness of humanity and oneness of the world. The vision threw him into a state of ecstatic wonder, and he began singing songs of devotion, praising the divine within himself and all around him. In other words, he was in love. Love made him see with new eyes. Everyone around him was a part of him that he did not yet know. I see no stranger, said the guru. I see no enemy. He taught that all of us could see the world in this way. There is a voice inside each of us, the I, that names itself as separate from you, but it resides in the bowl that holds our individual consciousness. Separateness is an illusion. When we quiet the chatter in our heads through music or meditation or recitation or song, the boundaries disappear. The bowl breaks. For a moment, we taste the truth, sweet as nectar. We are part of each other. Joy rushes in. Long after the moment passes, we can choose to remember the truth of our interconnectedness, that we belong to each other. We can choose to see no stranger, the title of her book. Isn't that utterly beautiful? Thank you, Miss Valerie, you beautiful soul. Yes, exactly. Those are the kinds of passages that cause me to simply lay it aside and put my hand on it and just spend a little time allowing myself to enjoy it, to process it, to enjoy it, sometimes go back and reread it. So we learn a little bit more about Sikhism, the stories, the traditions, and much like our Native American traditions here in this country, those stories are just so wonderful, aren't they, and colorful, and so full of meaning on so many levels. Now I want to share the other part of her voice, the part of her voice that caused me to stop and have a hissy fit a little bit. Maybe not this particular passage, but it might cause you to have a hissy fit. I don't know, but you'll be okay. I read this to my prayer partner, God bless her. People who love me put up with me. So during our prayer call this week, I said, I have something for you, and I read this to her. And she said to me, wow, it's about time. So let me share it with you. Friends, our minds are primed to see the world in terms of us and them. We can't help it. The moment we look on someone else's face, our minds discern instantaneously whether or not they're one of us, part of our family, or our community, or our country, or one of them. This happens before conscious thought. It is instantaneous. Our bodies release hormones that prime us to trust and listen to those we see as part of us, and to fear and resent them. It's easier to feel empathy and compassion for one of us, much harder for one of them. When one of us does something bad, we tend to attribute it to circumstances. But when one of them does something bad, we attribute it to their very essence. That's just how they are. We think, or we say, or we hear. We think of us as complex and multi-dimensional. We tend to think of them as simple and one-dimensional. We're much more likely to intervene when we already see a victim of violence as part of us. We tend to stand by when people we see as them are harmed, whether by policies or violence on the street. In other words, who we see as one of us determines who we let inside our circle of care and concern. It's difficult to read out loud, difficult to hear, difficult to accept, but by gosh, friends, it's true. It's true. And by gosh, friends, we are long overdue in owning it. You see, that's what Valerie's message is. Own it. Come on. Admit it, because until we admit it, there's no healing it. Wasted time trying. It's not going to happen. So I'm not going to stand up here and preach about it as much as I'd like to. I'm not. That's not my job. But I want to put it out there, friends. She's important. She's important. I love this young woman. So, world religions? Absolutely. Think outside the box? Amen. God bless you. Thank you.
And this song just happens to be about a struggle and struggling. It's a little different than most of the songs we do, but then most things we do are different. Inside a voice says, do more than your dreams. I feel I can't go on as I thought. Every breath seems that it's the last. I'll be there no matter what many say. It's just too tough, but to God my soul I bear. I'll be there, no matter what many say. It's just too tough, but to God my soul I bear. I'll be there.
It takes all of me, yet I can't Thank you, Jeff and Linda, and thank you, Reverend Linda, for another amazing talk. Now is the time in the service when we take out our gifts, our tithes, our offerings. We hold them if we have them with us, and we bless them as we say together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I love to give. Linda Woodcox is our prayer chaplain today, right there. She'll meet you over there after service if you'd like to share some affirmative prayer with her. Spiritual discussion group is not this week, is it? No. Okay, so the first Tuesday in August now. Okay. Yoga with Lana, Mondays at 10, right here. Come and help Paul Shepard get oriented to yoga. Hi, Paul. Prayer circle every Thursday at 11. Caregivers support group. This is the fourth Thursday coming up. Linda W. and I will be here substituting for Bob West this Thursday. See me if you'd like to schedule an individual Reiki session. And next Sunday, after the service, we're going to have another healing hour sponsored by the prayer chaplains. The last one was amazing and wonderful, and virtually everybody stayed. So I'd love to see that happen again. Yeah. All right, ladies. Would you join me? Oh. Okay, Paul, you're not here, but I'm remembering. You can't hear me when I do that. Okay. Would you join me in blessing? Creator of all that is, we thank you for these offerings. We bless each and every hand that placed them in the offering plate. We bless them to the services, to the growth and the creativity of Unity of Port St. Lucie. And we are so grateful for them and for every single person. And I said before we'd all be praying for Paul Shepard. So I ask you now to hold Paul, everyone who's on your heart, everyone in your life that you know, that needs healing, that needs comfort, that needs peace of mind, that needs love, that needs understanding, compassion, all the tremendous gifts and fruits of the Spirit that we have. Hold them all in that light and love and bless them. And every prayer request that's in the prayer box, we are also holding in that light and love. Send it out from our hearts, from our collective heart and mind, right here, right now. Thank you, and so it is, and so we let it be. And thank you to all the leprechauns and munchkins and minions who come early, stay late, do things during the week. There's just so much that happens. And we thank everyone who has a part in the service in any way. Mr. Shepard, do you have any announcements?
There will be choir rehearsal this Thursday at 6 p.m. All are welcome.
Is that daylight savings time, Eastern Standard Time, Mountain Time?
It's American time.
Okay. And now please stand and join us in our closing song, the Peace Song.